There we are. A brand new theme song. Hey, hey! Ba-da-ba. Now we need to come up with lyrics. Off night. Here we go. Ready? Off night. Off night. Off night. Off night. Off night. Off night. Anyway, that's our new theme song. We'll talk to Jason about that. It was his friends that composed and played that for us for free. A little freebie for the off night. We have one fan. There you go. Andy, who usually introduces me, is not here tonight, and for a very typical Andy Jensen reason, he's involved in another theatrical production. He is not the director this time. But he does have some part in this that has to do with the production of the play. I can't remember if he said it was, I don't know if he's the set director or the lighting director. He's got a gig, basically. And that it's something that had to be done tonight. He tried to get him to make it another night, but it had to be done tonight. So he won't be with us. But I did talk to Andy a little bit about how we are going to try to get him back on the street, because some of our favorite stuff that we did in the first year of the off night was some of his on the street reporting type stuff. That's how we found Jason one night at a laundromat. And he's been a regular ever since then. But anyway, as always, we're going to start off our show with my lovely bride, Susan, who every week puts together a poem based on the news headlines. And I remember at the beginning, they were very funny. Maybe the news isn't as funny now, but she always gets the points in, and it always rhymes. So sometimes just making things rhyme make it funny. So anyway, so I'm going to give it over to my bride, and here's Susan with the news of the week.
Well, it's sometimes hard to find funny news, but here we go. There's bad news around the world. I hope you're awake. Afghanistan was hit by a second earthquake. House Republicans cannot agree on a speaker, therefore chaos ensues. And Robert Kennedy Jr. is running independent. That's your political news. Claudia Golden got the Nobel Prize in Economics, one for women's studies. Listen up, you comics. Kenya's Calvin Kiptum ran the fastest marathon time. He did it in Chicago last week. His new record is sublime. A solar eclipse was Saturday. Did you see or did you miss? A full one is happening April 8th, and it should be bliss. That's your poem.
Oh, thank you very much, Susan. Appreciate it.
I made you laugh.
You did.
I heard you.
Yeah, I only put you on solo layout. I didn't take myself off the screen there. Suzanne Summers passed away yesterday.
Yes, she did.
76. And Sam has some stories about Suzanne, or at least one anyway, and we're going to talk to him about that.
Okay.
And I guess, it's what is happening in the Middle East is going to be news for a long time. So I don't know how much we want to cover that when we're comics talking about things. Andy's not here, but I think since we got four guys, we'll probably talk about the Lions. And for Sammy, Washington won yesterday. I'm sure he's happy about that.
The Lions are making the national news. They're playing that well.
The Eagles and the Giants both lost. So that's also good for Washington. And I guess the Cowboys play tonight. So we'll see how that works out. So anyway, thanks.
Bring your buds in.
Yep. Thanks for joining us. You want me to bring them on while you're still here?
Yes, I want to say hello.
All right. Well, let's get Wes in here right now. Here's Wes Partridge.
Hi, Susan.
Wes.
Hi,
Now,
Susan.
Wes,
Are you?
poem.
You're in. Yeah, I love your poems. You should be writing this down in a book. A history of the world according to Susan.
Well, she emails it to me every week, so we do have a record of it.
No, I keep my poems. Eventually, I guess I'll publish.
You're in an undisclosed location again?
Yes, I am. I'll at least officially copyright them.
She's in an undisclosed location. Basically, she's got the computer on the other side of this green screen, and so that couch she's sitting on is
Not
actually
well.
Yeah, about 2 miles.
Well,
on
thanks
the
a
other
lot.
it's a graphic. Yeah.
Now it's disclosed. Okay.
side.
Anyway,
Mark's right.
Wes,
I am on the other side.
Wes, I
2.5
want
miles.
Wes, we're going to talk a little bit about your Facebook posting because I haven't had a chance to talk to you about
Oh,
that.
yeah,
Respond to it. And you and Ned and I got a chance to corral a little bit less.
Right.
But let me get everyone outside here so Sue can say hi. Here's Jason, our friendly ranter.
Jason.
Hi guys.
Jason, we couldn't have gotten you up last night because we had 22 comics on the show. So
I was busy being near comatose, so
okay, well that worked out well for everybody then.
yeah, exactly. It's been a rough week. I'm about ready to go driving with what was that name that what's her name? Cher's friend in the movie about the plutonium and Meryl Streep, and she gets run over because of the plutonium and the plane. I felt like her.
Yeah.
Something wood. Something.
Yes, it's Steerwood.
Something wood.
Karen.
What was it?
Silkwood.
Silkwood. Yeah, I felt like Silkwood's chauffeur last night.
Hey, I love the new theme music, by the way.
Yeah, isn't it great?
It did give me porn vibes, though.
That's the idea. Thank you. We take that as a high compliment.
Yeah.
That's from my friend Jack. I don't know if I can disclose his full name yet because he's a
Mehoff, is it? Yeah.
To me, it sounded like Barney Miller, which makes me think of Jack, Sue, and Abe Vigoda.
Yeah,
naked.
well, yeah. You see, that's the thing. Jack is a pro, and I don't know that and he's working kind of freelance there, so we got to be careful.
Okay.
So we don't upset anybody, in the licensing department. But yeah, he did a really nice job for us.
Permission.
We understand.
Yeah. Oh yes. No, he has gifted us that lovely little piece of music, and by the way, I don't know how many hours of work actually goes into creating it, but seriously, hours go into creating like a 22-second clip. But hey, it's ours.
Yeah, it's ours now.
It's ours now, and we don't have to use either the what were we using, the Breakfast at Tiffany's theme.
Well, the first we were using Henry Mancini's Breakfast at Tiffany's clip.
Right.
And then I, for a while, I did once try a Earth, Wind, and Fire that got the whole YouTube thing taken off. Yeah. And then I did.
Why? Why is that? Because of copyrights?
Copyright. Yeah.
You have to be careful that you use the.
Then I did a Frank Sinatra tune that had a great instrumental intro. It was a Neil Diamond song. Can't think of the name of it now, but and they never took that off because it wasn't a big hit for either Neil Diamond or Frank Sinatra. Nobody's paying attention to that.
Or it's pre-1978 and the copyright is now expired.
Well, that doesn't.
Oh,
make
really?
sense.
Okay, so there's a statute of limitations on copyright.
Unless things are renewed, yes.
Well, depending on when it was created, but
when it was created, whether the guy is still alive.
Neil Diamond is still alive, so
just barely.
Yeah, current copyright, anything after 78 is 70 life of the author plus 70 years.
Well, then StreamYard created a little catalog of about a dozen different tunes, and they had the names rock, easy listening, very vapid generic terms. And
70s
I used those.
porn theme.
Reuse music.
Yeah. I think my phone has the same categories.
Is this everybody, Mark?
The ringtones.
Is this what?
Is this everybody? I thought you had.
We got
Sam.
We got to bring Sam out. Sammy,
give me a second here. Jeez.
All right.
He's coming.
There he is. See?
I know, but we were talking about things. This is the smoothest this show has ever gone at the beginning.
That's
before.
right.
I'm happy.
Sam, do you like them excluding you while they're talking about things?
I knew as soon as I brought up Silkwood and I couldn't think of the name that Sam was probably over there going Silkwood.
Yeah, right.
Well, no,
right.
the name that Cher had in the movie was Dolly Pellicker.
My God, but Cher is the character. Although she did play a lesbian in that movie, and she played with very plain makeup, and that it was sort of the movie that announced Cher as a serious actress.
You know what happened, by the way? She said that when she saw the movie, she went to a regular movie theater to watch it, and she said that they show the names of the cast, and they go, Meryl Streep,
Mm-hmm.
Who was the guy in the movie? There was Sam Elliott or
I think so. No, Sam was in Mask. Whether he was in that one or not,
yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, Jeff
Holloman,
Bridges
wasn't it Holloman? I'll have to look it up. Hold on.
Anyway, and when Cher's
going,
name
I'll look it up.
came out, she said the audience laughed and
Oh,
it
no.
crushed her.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Well, she wasn't
Well,
known as being an actress, but she had just been doing skits on the Sunday and Cher show. That's
true.
they knew.
no, well, she
But
ended
she
up with
proved
a
herself.
statue.
She was
Now
so
she's an
good
Oscar
in that
winner.
film.
Yeah.
And what's the film she was in with Nicolas Cage? I think.
Moonlighting?
Moonlight.
No,
That's
no,
when she won the
Yes.
Oscar. for, right?
Moonstruck.
Great
Moonstruck.
film.
Moonstruck.
That's-
Moonlighting
Right.
was
Is
a
that the
TV
one
show.
she won the? What's the one
Yeah.
she
And
won?
she-
The
Think of
Oscar
that cast, though. You had
She's an
Cher,
excellent
you had
actress.
Nicolas Cage, you had Olympia Dukakis,
Yes.
you had Vincent Gardenia,
Right.
you had Danny Aiello.
Right.
I mean, that was a hell of a cast.
Mhm.
You'd think
And I
the
think-
movie would be better with a cast like that.
Yeah, that's
I
what I
thought it
always
was a
say.
great
your male actors in Silkwood: Kurt Russell, Craig T. Nelson, Fred Ward, and Ron Silver.
Kurt Russell
yeah.
was,
Kurt
was
Russell was in
the romantic lead.
Right.
Yeah.
Which he could pull off back then.
But
Dolly
keep in
Pelican.
mind,
And
Karen
when they
Silkwood was
come
a
into
real
the plant to
person.
check in, that's how you
Yeah.
learn Cher's name in the movie, because she goes, Dolly Pelican.
Yeah. And that was a plant. The real plant was across the river from the town where my mother was born in. And they kept saying there's no problem at all, except the children were growing up to be 25 foot tall and would often rampage through downtown Paducah. But, they kept it out of the papers.
Yeah, but that's not a bad thing if you want to play in the NBA. Think about that.
Well, think about Indiana, Illinois. I mean, what else are you going to do? You know what I mean?
Tell you what, the
You-
two people
there's-
on the screen most familiar with Paducah are Sam and I.
That's true.
We've done some time in Paducah. So.
And when
Were
we
you
say
on the
done
run
time,
from the
we
mob,
mean done
or-
time.
Was it? Did you like piss off a loan shark? Was it
No, we performed there
in a park or actually in one of the-
Paducah.
Oh
Actually,
my
they had a
goodness.
very nice theater there that we worked in. That was very
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
Wasn't Paducah the one that had the one that went out over the water and there was like a yacht? Park
Yes.
there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Owensboro had this.
Owensboro. That's the one I'm thinking of.
And
Owensboro
Owensboro had this hotel, and they had a huge theater. Now this is Owensboro, Kentucky, Jason. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tom Jones appeared there.
Wow.
Nice.
Tony Orlando and Dawn appeared there.
Nice.
And
It's
I-
not
Um,
unusual.
I remember
Boom,
when I worked there, somebody told me that they had the largest theater west of New York, but east of Las Vegas.
I can believe that. It was like
Owensboro.
1,200 seats.
Yeah. Did we lose Susan?
Wow.
I didn't cut her off.
I think she. Well,
She said she's just about. By the way, the theme music, when I listened to it just now, it
Yeah.
sounded like Blinded Me with Science.
Okay. Is that good or bad?
Oh, I love that song.
Okay. Well, thank
She
you.
blinded me with science.
Science.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well,
Right.
again, my buddy was kind enough to cook that up for us, and he's been on it for a couple of weeks now, and I think he did a great job. And
Well,
it's ours.
when it first came out, I thought it was like Mandingo or something. The theme.
God, I remember
Mandingo?
Mandingo.
Yeah.
God, and
Yeah.
that was such a wonderful movie for me.
You know what?
And
I'm gonna play it again. So if everybody could be still here for the 20 seconds it takes to play this, we're gonna play it, and then we'll not because not everybody joined the show at the beginning. Oh, and that reminds me, I'm supposed to say here we are, 14 minutes in. I'm supposed to say this. Please like and subscribe. Right? Like and subscribe. Hit the share button. Share this
Right.
with your friends. It's called the off night because that's what we called the night that we weren't working for 45 years. I'm thinking of changing it to geezers or something that sort of illustrates what we're about
very,
here.
very, very soon
Well-
you'll be able to buy us a cup of coffee. So
Well,
Well,
that'll-
if
you know
you're
what?
talking about me, the night I'm not working is every night. So
Well, we just do this. We just do this to disrupt your Monday night football.
Well,
I know
you
I know
watch-
you want to get. I know you want to see the Cowboys get.
I got to tell you
by the
something.
Chargers tonight. So
They're playing that game in Los Angeles, where the Chargers are from.
yeah,
It is a magnificent. I'm looking at the game. It's a magnificent stadium.
I'm
Right.
going to
It's
be there. I'm going to be
amazing.
there
It's
on the
a
12th.
gorgeous stadium.
I'm going to be there on the 12th, so I'll give you an eyewitness.
No, it's really something. And by the way, regardless of what division the Cowboys are in, they can't lose enough for me.
No.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
if you were in any of the Eastern Conference cities, you hate the Cowboys. That's all.
No, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care if they were in the West.
I know, but
somebody has got to take Jerry Jones and say, "Grandpa, it's time for your nap." He is. They have not had a Super Bowl victory. I know they had one with Barry Switzer, but that was really Jimmy Johnson's team. They have not had a Super Bowl victory since 90 something, and they're not going to have one as long as he runs that team. They're not going to have one.
Do you remember how goofy the geography of the NFL was when the NFC West was the Rams, the 49ers, the Saints, and the Falcons?
Oh,
do you remember those?
Well, think about this. Why
and
are
the Arizona Cardinals?
Why are the Cowboys in the Eastern Division?
Right. Well, the Cowboys are there because of the Eagles, the Redskins, and the Giants. That's the only reason the Cowboys are there. Because how are you going to break up?
Is it just those three?
It's just those three now, but it used to be a 5-team division. I'm trying to think of who was in the East that isn't anymore.
Well, let us also remember
the Arizona Cardinals were, because they were in the East when they were the St. Louis Cardinals.
The St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, but they didn't move them when they moved out to Phoenix. They kept them in the East Division.
Yeah.
So we had Dallas and Arizona in the East Division, and New Orleans and Atlanta in the West Division. Goofiest damn thing. And the National Conference Central was the teams we now have in the North plus Tampa Bay. Just freaky goofy.
Yeah, Tampa, that was hysterical.
I know it.
But the thing that always made me laugh was, what was the name of the John McKay, who used to be the coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Oh, I was just about to bring him up.
They did a clip on NFL Films of him progressively losing his shit about the players,
Coach,
moving back off the sidelines.
What do you think about your team's execution, Coach?
I'm for it.
I'm for it.
Yes. That's right. But he goes like this. He goes, "Listen, I'm real serious about this. I will kill the next man whose foot." I said, "You're serious about this? I will kill the next player who puts his goddamn feet up." Bobby, I'm talking to you, you son of a Coach. I'm 5 feet behind it. Shut up. It was hysterical.
Well, I tell you what, we could talk about football even without Andy, but he's our big football fan. But I'm telling you, Bill Belichick is almost there now.
Well, it's
season?
the time has come. You know, I mean, it's hard when someone has to step aside. Remember Johnny Unitas playing his last year out with what for the Rams? You know, I mean,
it wasn't the Rams. Who did he play for? It was somebody else.
I thought it was the Rams.
He did. I thought he played for the Rams.
Oh, was it the Rams? Okay.
I think, but it was like, you know, I mean, Joe Namath went out in a similar sort of fashion. I mean, his last season was pretty ignominious.
Who did he play for?
Yeah, but you know, I told you about his shitting on.
His stats. His stats, not too good.
Well, you mean shitting on the quarterback who just managed to beat. Was it Philly?
Yeah.
The
kid's playing fine.
Yeah.
Well, as long as we're on football, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be the National Conference South champion this year. Despite what the Lions did to them yesterday, they're still. That's a great.
You guys must be happy as a pig in shit for the.
We are.
Playing.
You know, you're
Andy,
bringing
I
up.
told you this. I told you this on another show. I don't know if you were on the show. I mentioned this, but. The last time the Lions won the championship, and they beat Cleveland to do it, was the week my dad proposed to my mom. I wasn't even.
Damn.
You know what
66 years ago.
Damn.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
66 years ago.
Well, Sam, you know how happy I am about this?
How happy are you?
I'm so happy that I even got a Lions tattoo.
No kidding.
Yeah, but it's an iron-on just in case.
It's an
that must hurt like hell.
Not if you do it with some hot wax and someone playing a Nico record backwards.
I hope you're talking about the tattoo now.
Yeah.
Well,
they were talking on Detroit Sports Radio today. They were talking to a guy from Montreal, and of course, with the internet, you can have listeners all over the planet now.
Yes.
He's from Montreal, and he's a Lions fan. And he's all excited about it. He said, and they were talking, and so they're interviewing him, and they say, "How did you?" And he just called in, and he's talking about being from Montreal and being a Lions fan. And of course, they just got Canadian football up there, which has already ended their season. They end around Halloween. So, so he was saying that his dad was from Detroit. So even though he grew up in Montreal, his dad was from Detroit, and he had been a Bills fan because that was the team closest to Canada and to Montreal. And he had been a Bills fan until one day he saw Barry Sanders get caught in the backfield, spin out of it, stiff arm a guy at the line of scrimmage, and proceed to just dodge all the linebackers and make it all the way down for 80 yards for a touchdown. He goes,
That's a famous tape. That's
yeah,
a famous,
I know. He says, I have been a Lions fan ever since then. the radio announcer goes, so Barry Sanders duped you for 30 years. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
by the way, just as a little side note, the Cowboys got the kickoff. They fumbled, and the Chargers took the ball, and they are now at the 18. The 18.
You must be delighted.
Well, like I said, I don't like the reason I don't like the Cowboys has nothing to do with where they are, what division they're in. I think that they, I get so tired of people saying, "Well, guess what's happening? The Cowboys are doing this. The Cowboys are doing." Now he just scored. Now the Chargers just scored, but there was a flag. Betsy Palmer. Oh no, Mike Palmer. I'm sorry.
Now isn't this better when you were behind Andy and I for 10 seconds on the Lions Green Bay game?
And the flag and the penalty is against the Chargers. So you want to do the Suzanne Summers thing? I'll do.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
I'm going to take these guys down, just because we'll talk about this kind of experiment with having these guys watch from the sidelines while you and I talk about this. So, did you know Suzanne Summers?
Me?
Yeah.
No, but I knew her thigh master.
That was the line I did yesterday. Somebody said Suzanne Summers died, and I said thigh master accident.
Boy, that would hurt like hell.
I know it. But she was 76. It's hard to believe. I don't remember her being, old ever. So I guess we didn't see her that much after she left Three's Company, except for the Thigh Master commercials.
Well, after Three's Company, she had two or three other hit series. She had She's the Sheriff.
Never heard of it.
There was one with what's his name from Dallas.
Patrick Duffy.
Yeah, with Patrick Duffy.
Never heard of it.
She had two hit series, besides that one. And the Thigh Master made her a ton of money.
Yeah, you know what? Just like the exercise videos did for Jane Fonda, she made more money off of those.
Oh my God, she made a king's ransom.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go with Suzanne Summers.
Okay.
So I'm watching the Today Show, which I don't normally watch, but Barbara watches it, so I was trapped. And they said, what happened with Suzanne Summers? They were mourning her passing. They said, what happened with Suzanne Summers? She tried to get a raise from the people at Three's Company, and they fired her. And these women are going, "Oh my God. Oh, bullshit." Let me tell you what actually happened. And now Sam Greenfield with bullshit.
Bullshit.
Here's what actually happened.
Here's Sam Greenfield with the real story.
The real story. And now here's Sam Greenfield with, if Paul Harvey was alive, he'd say no. Now Sam, but here's what happened. John Ritter, Joyce DeWitt, and Suzanne Summers, who were the stars of the show, Three's Company, had a pact. And the pact was, when they negotiated for when their contract was up, they would negotiate as a triumvirate.
Okay. Kind of like the Friends.
There is strength.
Kind of like the Friends cast did in the 90s type of thing. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So then Suzanne Summers marries Alan Hamill, who becomes her manager. And he decides incorrectly that she's the star of the show. So he goes to the producers, and you know how free they are with their money. He goes to the producers and he says, she wants this much, whatever it was. Let's say she was asking for, this is 1970 something. Am I correct?
Yeah, so that would have been like 150,000 was probably what she was
Right.
asking.
No, it's just, so she was asking. No, she was asking for like 75,000 a week,
Okay.
and they told her 75,000. No. And Hamill, instead of saying, and by the way, now Ritter and DeWitt are not talking to her because she obviated the nice word. She obviated their pact.
Okay.
But Hamill evidently thinks he's more powerful than he actually is. And instead of saying, well, what would you like us, what could we get? He says, oh, really? Well, now we want 150,000 and 10% of the profits.
Wow.
So they fired her in the most evil way you could fire her, which was, you're fired, but you still have a year to go on your contract. So what we're going to do is, you're only going to appear on the show for 1 minute at the end of the show. And Ritter and DeWitt don't want to see you. So you're going to be in another studio. And it's just going to be you on the phone with Ritter, but he's not going to be talking to you. Someone else will be talking to you, and you'll talk to them as if it's Ritter. Ritter will be talking to someone else, getting his cues. Same thing with DeWitt. They wouldn't talk to her.
Wow.
So you'd see this split screen, diagonal split screen. And remember, her character, Chrissy, was like the goofy one.
Right.
So they'd say, Chrissy, and she was supposed to be like in Alabama, I think is where she's supposed to be from, and with her mom, taking care of her mom. But it was literally, you're going to appear for 1 minute on the show, and then that's it, 1 minute. And they made her do that for 33 weeks.
Unbelievable.
And then they canned her. So that's actually what happened. So this thing about, well, she asked for a raise and they fired her. No, bullshit. That's absolute crap. But I mean, she went on to, bigger and better things like her bosoms. So,
well, that's what that was the adjunct to the thigh master. That was the breast master. So.
Actually, she had breast cancer.
Well, that's what killed her, I heard.
Yeah.
But she fought it for 23 years though. So good going, girl.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, you held it on for 23 years. That's not bad. You live to be 76. I mean,
yeah,
everybody
talking about
do
keeping
that.
abreast of your illness. Yeah. Come on.
All right, let's get Jason and Wesley back. Now that we've heard the story, we can get their opinions of that. Were you guys Suzanne Summers fans? I was.
Yeah, but
that was the number one show at its time. But I was not a big fan of that show.
Yeah, the thigh master is what she will be remembered for.
Indeed.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Say, do you remember how Valerie Harper lost her show when she did something of a similar nature?
I remember that.
And what do? They bring in Sandy Duncan.
Yep.
It's like, no, we've got someone. We don't have to keep much of an eye on her. And
yeah.
You know why? The producer said she's his favorite pupil.
Sammy Davis Jr. can go out together. What would it be like?
Yeah, that was a guest star.
I love Sammy Davis's song. She's got Betty Davis eye.
About to say, then if she would go out with the Ford and the Rockefeller family, there'd be one tit, couple of eyes, few arms. Well,
man,
we're going way afield here. This is not working out quite as
well.
I wish I felt guilty about this, but everybody we're talking about is dead. So
Well, the Fords and Rockefellers, fuck them, like you say, like they give a shit about us. I mean,
exactly.
We had a Ford say something today.
Really?
Yeah, he was talking about. He was basically telling the workers that they're being too aggressive. They're not going to get what they're asking for.
No, they're not going to get a 32-hour work week. That's not going to
probably not that. But you know what, though? I know the tactic. They're going to ask for everything as possible, everything that they think they can get out of their mouth, and then when they can cut back on it, they're still going to get something. But
they're asking for a 40% raise. They'll get a 28% raise.
Exactly. You always do that in negotiation.
That's what negotiations are.
you never want to ask. I learned this. My price now, I don't think I'm speaking out of school here, but my price now for a show is $1,200. I haven't done a show for $1,200 in 20 years, but I'm not going to lower my price. I'll just negotiate. But what I learned was if you did below that and they were willing to go for $1,200, I should have asked for $1,200 because
the worst thing you can hear is this. What are you looking for? $1,200. Okay. God,
done.
Yes.
Oh,
done.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know,
That's
you
why,
just
right.
Yeah, if they
Well,
say it that quickly, you could have gotten 15.
That's why we need agents. Oh, you know what? I want to repeat this story. I don't have to take everybody off this. I was at the Geechee Guy Memorial. I didn't want to talk.
how'd that go?
Right.
It wasn't as star-studded as the Vegas one, which is on YouTube now if you want to see it. But it was more personal because his family, his childhood friends, all the guys he started with in Detroit, saw a lot of people there that some of them I hadn't. Ken Leslie, I hadn't seen Ken Leslie in easily 40 years. And Steve Bills, I haven't seen him in 25. I mean,
what did Geechee got? What did he die of?
Oh, they don't know yet. It's been since September 7th, and he just fell asleep and never woke up. So probably
Was he a smoker?
Nope.
Could have been a heart attack.
I think it was a heart attack. He ate. You know what? At the memorial service, they had pizza, King Dongs, and Twinkies because that's what Geechee ate.
That was his diet.
Oh, wow.
That's what killed that.
Go.
That's what killed him. You know,
King Dongs and Twinkies mean something very different in my community, but
I know it
get
does. I know it does. That's why you weren't invited to speak.
Hey, at least I wasn't Joe the Animal.
No one wanted to hear the words King Dong, and then Jason goes, "Which reminds me."
Yeah, exactly. Jeff Brannon. I never knew this before then. Jeff and I are probably of all the people there knew him the longest. I've known him for 39 years, but Jeff knew him from grade school. He was only a couple years. He was only a couple years ahead of Geechee Guy.
Where'd he go to school? Do you know?
He mentioned the element McCarty in Rochester Hills or something like that.
He's from Rochester Hills.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't Madonna from Rochester?
Who?
Yes.
Madonna.
Yeah. In fact, Geechee used to do a line about that. I can't remember what it was now. I'll have to look it up.
Probably snorted a few lines about that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
She said, this last illness she had, she said, I didn't think I was going to make it. And a whole host of people went,
Geechee had a great line about Rochester. He goes, I'm from the village of Rochester, but then they changed them. They've changed from a village to a city, and I lost my job. I mean, whoever heard of a city idiot?
Oh God, a city idiot.
Rochester is one of the richest places around. You go up there, and they pretty much are stacking the cash and $100 bills right in front
Is
of
it
the
really?
house. Oh,
yes, it is.
Yeah,
Oh,
yes, it is
very,
extremely
very
well-to-do.
Now it was great.
Damn.
What I didn't see at the Las Vegas memorial that I saw here in our local one was stuff about his childhood. And at first it was just like sort of a guarded, he didn't have a great childhood. But as the program went on, people got up and they were talking about his dad was like his baseball and his football coach in Little League.
Nice.
He was like a great Santini type coach, just like I said, get down and give me 20. So it's like that explains a little bit about why you would become a comic.
See, that's funny because when you first started to tell the story, I thought, oh, that's nice, and then you went through the rest of it, and it's like, all right, not so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was. And this one girl got up. I can't think of her name, and I probably wouldn't want to say it publicly anyway. She was very emotional, and she basically she says, I'm just thankful I was able to apologize to him before he passed away. Apologize to him. But she said, I was merciless to him in middle school and high school, in junior high and high school, as many people were. He was just a kid that got picked on a lot. And he never, ever, no matter how big he got, never spoke badly about them and always, welcomed them when he came
Sometimes that fear stays with you. Cosell told a story about when he was in like 6th grade or something. There was this kid who used to just pick on him mercilessly. And part of it was anti-Semitism, at the time that Cosell was growing up. So now, go ahead to 1950 something. Cosell is a captain in the adjutant's office. He was a lawyer. Yeah. And he was a captain in the legal department of the Army.
Nice.
And he goes into a bar with this girlfriend of his, and that guy is there who picked on him.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and Cosell was 6'3", and this guy is now 5'6", and he's a corporal. And
Oh,
he
dear.
sees Cosell,
Yeah.
and he's shaking. And he salutes Cosell. He's like, "Sir," like that. And Cosell said it unnerved him.
Yeah.
Wow.
It unnerved him that the memory of being picked on, even though he said, and I saw Cosell tell this story. He said, I could have killed him. I could have beaten the living shit out of him, but I just saluted him back and walked right out.
I told
Wow.
the story during my portion. I told the story of firing our manager. I had introduced him at the Improv, and his repayment to me was when he got a manager that was looking to take on more clients. He recommended me, and I said, "Well, why me?" He says, "You're something that he doesn't have." He had Geechee Guy, Brad Upton, Janine Gardner, and Chicago Steve Barkley, and the five of us were about as different of a group of comics. He didn't have a minority comic, but that wasn't. I didn't think about it at the time, but anyway, he was a shitty manager, and after about a year and a half, 2 years, we all said, "Yeah, we're talking. I'm thinking of leaving." He never wanted us to get together. He used to book us together all the time, like on gigs, and then when he discovered we were talking about him, he stopped booking us together. And so finally, we got together one time.
You
and
guys are having meetings?
We weren't having meetings, but we were like showing up at each other's shows. So I'm now it's June 91. I am working with Bob Saget on the middle, and all that week, Bob is giving Gary Shandling a guest set. It was the week that the pilot for the Seinfeld show premiered. And seriously, in the green room, the night that we're watching the Seinfeld show for the first time, this is the first one before they retooled it, right?
Right.
And so it's Bob Saget, Gary Shandling, Bruno Kirby. Remember him? He's gone now,
Yeah.
too.
Rest in
Yeah.
peace.
Bruno Kirby, Brad Gray, Bernie Brillstein. Remember those guys?
God
Sure.
damn.
And
Talk about Slugger's Row there.
yeah, and think of who else was there.
Well, isn't
Ollie
Gray-
Joe Prater?
No, Ollie Joe wasn't.
I'm kidding.
No.
Yeah.
Ollie
I'm
Gold.
just
Ollie
saying,
Gold-
isn't
Ollie
aren't
Gold might have
Gray
been dead
and
by 91.
Brillstein?
But anyway, so it was. I said to Paul, my manager, and Geechee's manager, and Janine, all these other, look, I'm going to be working with Bob Saget. I just found that he's invited Gary Shandling to come by and do a 5-minute guest set as he works on new material. I go, and it's going to be a lot of big shots there. Why don't you get people to this show since you haven't done shit for me in 2 years?
Way to soften the blow.
Other than take a commission from me. And so he doesn't show up. And so Geech is there and Janine's there. And I think the other two were out doing gigs somewhere. So, but they were there. And I said, that's it. I'm going to let him go. And Janine goes, yeah, he's not doing nothing for me. And Geechee goes, well, why don't we all call him? Why don't we call Brad and Steve? And we got Monday through Friday. We'll each call him one day a week. And he says, I said, well, give me Friday. And so I call after Geech and Janine and Steve and Brad,
That's
dump him as
hysterical.
their manager.
I want
call
Friday.
Friday he goes, sure is a coincidence you're all dumping me the same week. I go, well, the coincidence is that you sucked for all of us.
I'm going to tell you a story about my
Man.
career as a radio person. And I have to kind of tell this quietly because Barbara hates this guy so much that if I bring his name up, and this has been 10 years,
Wow.
she gets so fucking mad. Cords come out on her fucking neck. I mean, it's
Wow.
he was my manager. He was a radio guy. He was the publisher of Talkers Magazine, which was
Vegas or New York?
Oh, where was I? New York.
New York. Okay.
He was the publisher of Talkers Magazine, which is like the Bible of talk radio.
Got
He was
it.
a very influential guy. So I figured, yeah, this, but he did something, and I could kill myself. I could just kill myself for agreeing to this. He wanted 10% before he ever got me anything. He wanted 10% of that which I was making now, and he hadn't got me anything.
Yeah,
And
Paul was like our guy was like that too.
and Barbara got so fucking mad at this that after I fired him, Barbara said, "We're taking him to small claims court. We're going to get that money back." So it was like $7,000. So I said, "He's not going to give us all that money back." She said, "He's going to get that fucking money back, or I'm going to find him." And what are you going to put out a hit on him? And when I said that, I was joking. When I said, "You're going to put a hit on him," she looked at me like this. I said, "This bitch is serious." So I called him. I said, "Listen, Barbara's really upset. I'm upset. You took money and you didn't do anything for. We want 4,000 of the 7." And he said, "All right. I don't want any bad blood. I know I didn't do the job." I said, "You did the opposite of the job."
Ooh.
But here's what he did, and this is what made me fire him. Every year he had a seminar. There were a group of seminars. It was really a convention of radio people, of talk radio people. But they had different seminars, the advent of social media and all this kind, how to podcast and all that shit. Okay. And I was on, because he was my manager, I was on 2 of the seminars. And I would never normally talk about this way, but I crushed. Okay, I just did. I did. There was this one guy who was also Jewish, and he said, I hate people who are pretentious about religion. And he goes, "I'm not going to use the microphone because it's the Sabbath." And I went,
Oh my God.
So I said to him, I said, "Are you here representing your radio station?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Then you're working."
Yeah.
Then you're.
Right.
I said, "When you took the elevator down, did you press a button
Yeah.
to get to the floor?" Then you're working. I said, "Who do you think you're bullshitting?"
Yeah.
I said, all of a sudden you're a religious Jew. I said, "I happen to know that there's pork rinds coming out of your teeth." And people just exploded laughing. I said,
Well, is it okay if a Sabbath goy is holding the microphone? Wouldn't that be?
"No, the Shabbos goy is just, his job is mainly to turn out the lights in the house."
The
Yeah.
Shabbos goy.
No, there's such a thing.
I know there is.
When my father was a kid, the Shabbos goy was the guy they paid to do the wife. No, but they paid to
Well, at least it quiet her down.
turn out the lights,
Yeah.
and all that other stuff. You could, but it's so ridiculous to me, because it's like, did you tie your shoes? Then you performed an act of labor. It's so, anyway.
Oh, just as long as we're bringing this up, Sam, when you do go, we're going to have more than a day to get to your funeral, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Well, there's not going to be.
Just want to make sure you're not being buried the next day.
There's not going to be a funeral.
Okay, cool.
Barbara has announced that she's auctioning off my liver.
Or whatever
No,
else is whatever else is.
No,
good.
she said that what she wants to. And by the way, she can do whatever she wants. I'm dead. Okay.
Yeah.
But she said she's going to wrap me in a sheet and put me in the woods and tell the squirrels, "Lunchtime."
Have at 'em. Have at 'em.
Oh,
I've got my dad's ashes on the mantelpiece over the fireplace, and I've got 3 brothers that also have some of his ashes, and that was kind of.
I
nice
love it when people
memorial.
keep cremains by the fireplace.
Yeah,
I always
well,
dig the irony in that.
Well, the thing is, I said to Barbara, I said, "You're not doing this because of some kind of, like PETA thing. You're doing this to save money, aren't you?" And she went, "Well," I said, "God damn, you could have at least lied."
that's not just a Jewish funeral. That's a Scottish Jewish funeral.
That is.
I mean, if you really want to say it, you could check into like the Ruth Gordon Sex Clinic and save money. I mean, there's just
What they do is, what's that old joke? Did you hear about the Scotsman and the Jewish guy? The Scotsman was throwing silver dollars into the street, and the Jewish guy was picking them up and giving them back.
You heard the one about the priest and the rabbi at the youth center, and some kid walked past them, and the priest says, "What do you say we go in there and fuck that 9-year-old?" And the rabbi says, "Sure, Out of what?
You know how the
Uh,
limbo was invented? A Jew tried to get into a pay toilet.
My favorite one is the priest, the minister, and the rabbi talking about how they divide up the funds that are donated at their services. And the priest says, "Well, we draw a circle, we throw the money up in the air. What falls in the circle is God's. What else? What falls outside the circle, we keep for ourselves." And the minister says, "We draw a line. We throw the money up. What falls on our side of the line is ours. Whatever falls on the other side of the line belongs to God." And the rabbi says, "Well, we throw the money up. Whatever God wants, he keeps."
That's great. That's great. Oh man, that's hysterical.
Brought to you by the American Nazi Party, folks. We're here bringing you the.
Did you know?
No, I heard that from a rabbi, so I know that.
Oh well, you always hear the best ethnic humor.
You mean self-hating Herskowitz? I know him.
Yeah,
Self-hating
Herskowitz. Oh no! I mean,
So I said to the my manager, I said, "How did I do?" He said, "You hit it out of the park." So I'm on cloud 9 because I'm thinking, this is his convention. It's the the Talking Magazine convention. I'm going to get some work out of this. I'm going to get booked into, I'm going to get a raise. I'm going to get something. Nothing. And so he said, "Well, we have to be a little cautious." And I went, "You're fired."
There you go.
Right, boom.
There you go.
He said, "Well, you don't have to." I said, "No, you're fired." I said, "This was your fucking convention. We didn't come in like out of nowhere. This wasn't like, Elvis taking the stage in Memphis in 1958. No. You knew who I was. You booked me on this so I could make a good impression. I made a great impression. People were coming up to me saying, 'Man, that was great.' And you're sitting there holding your fucking dick. No, we're done. You're fired."
Well, I don't understand why do people want to do that with an asset, with talent? Someone you go out there, you crush.
Because
that's
he's an
something.
idiot.
That's
because he's an idiot.
You sell
Here's the best part. Now, years later, I'm waiting tables at Ben's Kosher Deli. That's at 209 West 38th Street. And this guy comes in. This guy comes in. Michael Harrison. And he sits down with his friends, and I didn't mention the fact that the 10%, that I was giving him. He would get the check, and then I'd get the other 90%.
Right.
On 3 different occasions, his son was 2 weeks late sending me the money.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a myriad number. So then, as he's leaving, having paid his check and everything, he says, "Listen, when you have an opportunity, we should get together for coffee, so I can tell you how you fucked up this entire deal." I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "Yeah, this entire thing is your fault." I said, "I am so happy you said that." And he said, "Why?" I said, "Because every once in a while, I think to myself, was I at fault for firing this prick, or was it his fault? And now I know I was right to fire you. The next time you want to talk to me, I want it to be because you're in intensive care."
Hey, we got 11 minutes left, and I do want to get to Wes's
let's do it now.
Wes's Facebook post.
Oh, geez.
What did you do, Wes? What did you do?
Wes, you'll correct me. I'm just going to summarize it. Basically, he was saying that he had another comic came up to him and says, "Nobody thinks you're funny." And so he asked the comics that would have read this, "What do you guys think? Do you think it's worth pursuing? Am I funny? Should I, should I take this to heart?" And pretty much the solid response was, don't listen to people that say you're not funny. That's just ridiculous. So did you get,
yeah.
Was this at Unclub or was this somewhere else?
No, this was.
You know what? I am not going to divulge. I'm done with it. I shouldn't have posted that in the first place.
Because the reason why I asked is I had some douchebag little Twinkie who normally I would be meeting on a grinder date, in a rented car.
You smooth talker.
Well, I got $20. I mean, come on, I have needs.
And waiting for change.
Yeah, exactly. But he came up and he started doing this passive aggressive thing with Andy and I, saying, "Oh, you guys are really great, like for Vietnam vets." And you know what I'm saying, just sort of like throw a little compliment out there, and then some little left-handed thing, and then throw a little insult on top of it, and act like it was all cool and everything. And I saw what was going on almost instantly, and I'm just sort of looking at the guy and just smiling, and because he was trying to rattle me.
Yeah.
And it's just like, dude, don't even try this shit. I've been, first off, I say this, but it's true. I've been strip searched in Michigan Department of Corrections. After that, what are you going to do to me? What precisely, what humiliation do you think you can dish out that's going to bother me?
Well, it wasn't so much of what was said; it was who said it. So that's. But anyhow, I'm done with it.
Is it somebody whose opinion you respect?
Yes.
Oh.
So that, and I'm done with it. I'm not gonna.
Was it Al Kaline?
Stephen Wright.
I'm just spitballing.
Stephen Wright,
Bill
Freehan,
Mickey Stanley,
Gates.
God.
Stephen Wright was doing comedy in Boston. You guys obviously know this. And one of the local guys there who was hitting every night was doing great. But Stephen was doing the stuff that he was doing. He's like, dude, I don't know if this is really what you should be doing. And shortly after that, the guy from Carson sees him. And shortly after that, he's on the Johnny Carson show.
Yeah.
And if you ever watch it, you can see Stephen.
Oh yeah.
Kind of got
I have. Yeah. No, I have.
You know how he got that, by the way?
I have no idea.
Peter LaSalle was in Boston.
Yeah, he saw
looking at colleges for his kid.
Oh, okay.
And he asked someone, "Where do I go to see comics in Boston?"
Right.
And they said the Ding Ho. It was a Chinese restaurant, and on top was a comedy club, and that's where he saw Stephen Wright.
Right.
And
within a short period of time, Stephen Wright's life changed entirely.
He's an Oscar winner.
Oh, really?
What did he win an Oscar for?
A documentary.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And whenever I talk to him, he's not a guy you talk to. He's not a guy. Right. I mean, he's not cold. He's not mean, but he's not a guy who shoots the shit.
Is his character sort of like the way he really is?
He's a quiet, very quiet guy. Yeah, he is.
Okay.
And so he comes up to me, he goes, "Don't tell people we're talking. They'll think." No, but he meant it. He said, "Don't." Right. But he made me laugh. He said, "Don't tell people we're talking. You know what's going to happen." I said, "People will say we're in love." And he laughed. He went, "Well, no, but," he said, "Not that." He said,
"Well,
no." Then he said, "No." Then they're going to think, "Oh, now I can talk to him." And God, please. And I said, "I'll walk away right now." He goes, "No, you don't have to do that." And so whenever I saw him from that time on, I'd go I'd wave,
right,
and he'd wave. He hates carrying on conversation with people. He does it, "Oh, it's Stephen Wright. I want to talk to him." No.
He came into the Improv one time, and I had been there at least 3 years as an MC, and I hadn't seen him in those 3 years, but he was big back then. He didn't need to, but he wanted to come in and work on some stuff at the Improv. So he comes in, and so Bud sends him over to me. And so he says, "I'm Stephen." I go, "I know who you are." I go, "We met in Detroit." I go, "Do you remember working the Laugh Factory back in 1983? I worked with you that week." And he said, Yeah. He says, "That's when I had to schmooze and talk to people. I don't have to do that anymore."
Oh, by the way, Mark, you said something to Susan tonight, and I know you didn't mean it that way, but it made me laugh because you went like this. Susan does a poem every week, and when we first started, the poems were very, very funny. And lately, I guess it must be the news that if they're not, and I'm like, oh my God, why don't you just tell her? I said, and she didn't take it the way I took it, but I think, do you know what you just said? You said, "Well, it used to be funny, but what the fuck is this?"
Hey, he has to sleep next to her.
I remember when she first started doing those, like the first 10 or 12 that she did, she wouldn't put the heavy news story in the poem because she thought it would be too heavy. But then we started talking about these heavy things, and so she felt like she had to put them in the poem.
She was what I think what it was, and I don't know, but she was more committed to actually doing news.
Yes. It's like
so it's not going to be funny, you know.
You're right. It's like,
well, the news is not funny at present. I mean,
you know what? I think she's seen Seth Meyers and Stephen Colbert play too many clips from Fox News that she now realizes that some of that news is just fucking goofy, you know.
And you know, I'll tell you something. One of the reasons I don't watch John Oliver after the first 15 minutes is because the last half of the show is relentlessly depressing. It's always something, you know, prisoners who are getting screwed over.
Wins him an Emmy every year. Wins him an Emmy every year, though. So.
Oh no, but I think he wins for the first half of the show.
Yeah,
I do. The humor is what makes him win.
You know what he doesn't do anymore that he used to for the first few years was he had a budget and he would do shit that was just crazy. Remember when he bought the last surviving Blockbuster video store?
Yes. In Bend, Oregon.
In Bend, Oregon. Yeah, he bought it because they wanted to keep it going. I think it was one of 3 at the time. It ended up being the last one because they owned it and kept the thing going as a gag. I mean, that kind of stuff cracked me up.
It's gone now, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gone.
Yep.
The explosions he does at the end of every season, where they got those big movie type pyrotechnic explosions at the end of the season. I love that stuff.
Well, he who was it? What's it? It's not Virgin Records. Give me another one like Virgin Records. Is it where they sell stereo stuff and
Capitol?
Nokia? I don't know.
Are you talking about a hardware store kind of thing?
No, I'm talking about a store that sells like records.
Tower Records?
No. That's gone.
Yeah, it is. They're all
anyway. Whatever it is.
CD Baby?
Huh?
There's an online store called CD Baby that sells music.
No,
Walmart.
but Walmart. That's it. Walmart has stopped selling DVDs.
Right. Yeah, right.
Well, you don't need to anymore. You don't need to sell DVDs anymore.
That's a huge thing for that market.
Yeah,
sure.
Digital market. Yeah, for real media.
Sure. And you know who really hates it? The pirates in China that rip off CDs and DVDs and make copies of them. So they can't do that anymore.
Our dear friends from China. Yes.
Well, but now they're reduced to naming their children by dropping a fork down a stairwell.
Oh, Sam. Oh shit, man. Of course, I've been reading a lot of World War II stuff, and the shit the Japanese did to the Chinese.
Oh, it was awful.
Oh my! Yeah. I mean, by the millions.
Did you ever see Dragon Seed?
No.
Oh my God! I mean, they would like rape 60-year-old, women.
Yes,
like
to death. I mean, yeah. This is yeah. It was.
And in that movie Dragon Seed, you'd see the daughter who's like 20,
right?
And they don't show you what they're doing to the mom or the grandmother, but you hear it.
Yeah.
Which is more chilling in a way.
Yeah, it's actually kind of worse. Yeah.
Because at the end she says, "Do I have to show you guys everything?"
And the Japanese are to this day are like, well, World War II, there were some people, there were some planes, we don't know, and then the Americans hit us with atomic bombs. And
the most racist country, by the way.
Well, yeah, exactly. My only regret is that we stopped at 2 when we should have when we had more on the way. It's like there should have been at least 3 or 4, maybe 5 more cities, but that's just me. So I hear the theme music.
It is the music. It's the old music, but
how come is that? I was wondering that.
Well, because we have an intro. Now we have outro music. So.
Now, yeah, but you need a new.
Sammy, what's the score before we get out of here? What's the score?
7-7, 13 minutes and 23 seconds go in the second quarter. Dak Prescott, is that his name?
Yeah, Dak Prescott.
He quarterback ran it in like 28 yards.
Wow.
And, he ran it in. So that was personal foul. on one of these motherfuckers.
Well, go check that out on ESPN. We're going to get off the air here for a second. Stick around, guys. We'll talk after we're done, but not for too long. I got other things to do tonight. We're here every Monday night at 8 o'clock. It's the off night. It's old comics, talking about the old days, talking about the new days, some of the new ways.
Old?
Favorite
Oh,
movies,
yeah, that's
favorite
me.
songs, and other things like that. We're here every Monday night at 8 o'clock. Come join us here on the Off Night YouTube channel. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
See ya.